If this is our immigration tradition, what represents immigration today? I've been carrying these tubes around for 10 years talking to people about immigration. I'm going to go over here to the National Mall now and see if I can find some more people to listen. What I'm talking about is immigration tradition.
Okay.
And you've heard America's a nation of immigrants.
Yeah.
We've had quite an immigration tradition. This country has a tradition of immigration. Mm-hmm. And so when people talk about it, sometimes numbers are hard to visualize, so I visualized them. Actually, I developed this for 7th grade. Somebody told me once, they said, if 7th graders could understand it, I might be able to present it to members of Congress, that they might be able to understand it. So, if you'll hold this is going to illustrate our immigration tradition. The average number of immigrants who came to this country for the first 200 years, 1776 to 1976, 250,000. Now, sometimes it's quite a bit higher, sometimes it's quite a bit lower, but that's the average. That's Ellis Island, that includes everything. And at no other time in history, anywhere in history, is there anything like that kind of a surge of people into one nation. So that's our immigration tradition, 250,000. A more recent tradition, from the end of World War II to the 1970s, we had a little bit higher, but you see about 255,000. So they're about the same. So the point is even though immigration went up and down, it was very low, much lower than this, much higher. The thing is that more recently, it was pretty similar. What's happened since 1965 was Congress changed the laws, whereas before you could only bring in your spouse and minor children. After 1965, you could bring in extended family.
So that's like grandparents, uncles, aunts.
Before long, you got cousins, in-laws, exactly. So instead of just a nuclear unit coming in, you ended up sort of emptying out whole villages eventually. And that created a chain migration. They didn't really think about what was going to happen. Since 1990, the average number of immigrants coming in this country is this.
Wow.
At 1 million a year. At 1 million a year. At $1 million a year. Okay? At 1 million a year. That's the change that's happened that's probably caused immigration to become a big issue. The numbers have really gone up so much. I mean, we've gone from this traditional level to this is what we're growing every year since 1990.
Well, if you're including people here who are here undocumented,
This is just legal.
This is just legal.
This is just legal. The government says in the last few years, the average number of illegal immigrants, well, not people who are coming in and out, but people who come and settle, is running right about another 1 million a year. About another million a year, running about 1 million a year. 1 million legal, and then about 1 million illegal are settling every year. So when you put that together with just what we recently had as our tradition, the numbers would indicate why there's so much tumult about immigration in the country right now, is that you've got the 1 million a year legal, the 1 million a year illegal, compared with what's much more traditional in this country. It's not that they don't like immigrants or don't like immigration, it's just that the numbers got so high. Right now, Congress is primarily trying to solve the illegal immigration problem. But even if they're 100% successful and solve that, you still have a disparity in the tradition, in the numbers. Various recommendations about whether the 1 million a year ought to be coming down something closer to the traditional level, so that immigrants themselves would assimilate better, would have better lives, economically adjust more, and also so that the poor people of this country would not have so much competition in the jobs. Many times people say, well, we can't cut legal immigration because that would go against our immigration tradition. Mm-hmm. But this is our immigration tradition. Actually, what we have now is sort of against it. Anyway, those are the numbers. Now, did you know any of these numbers? Any of these numbers familiar with you? Were you familiar with those numbers?
No, I was not.
Yeah,
I was probably more somewhat familiar with this, but not
with where we'd been. Yeah. Are you familiar with any of those figures, or
yes,
it sounds about right?
Yeah.
Didn't really know.
Hadn't thought about it.
No. I mean, I knew we had a big problem, but didn't really think about the numbers.